Hi, and welcome to my Nearpod lesson. Nearpod is a wonderful tool that allows teachers to create lessons for their students. Nearpod has options for activities, videos. You can add your own content to create the lessons that would benefit your students either through digital learning days or just every day in the classroom. You can create individualized lesson plans for students, or you can create lessons that all the students can participate in. Today's lesson is on the water cycle. It is 4th grade science and is meeting the standard S4E3, where students will obtain, evaluate, and communicate information to demonstrate the water cycle. At the end of this lesson, students should be able to observe the flow of energy through the water cycle and develop a model to explain the pathways of the water cycle. First, students will start by watching this video that talks about the water cycle and everything that it entails. They will then be brought to this activity called Time to Climb, where they'll have the opportunity to answer questions based off the information they just learned. So for example, during the water cycle, water goes through precipitation, condensation, evaporation, all of the above. And it's a fun little game that the students can do to test their knowledge on what they just learned. Here we have a fill in the blank where there's a word bank that students can use to fill in these sentences that also reiterate what they've learned about the water cycle. And students can just drag the answers. So blank is when the sun heats the water, changing it from liquid to gas and causing it to rise to the sky, which we know is evaporation. And then they can fill in the rest of the answers and then hit done. If they get answers incorrectly, it'll let them know how many they got wrong, and they can always go back and retake the little quiz. And on this page we have a map here and a word bank that's kind of out of the corner a little bit. They can fill in the blanks with which part of the water cycle is represented by that portion of the model. And this reiterates what they learned about those specific times in the water cycle. It also shows the flow of energy through the arrows and the order that the water cycle flows through. And lastly, we have an open-ended question that asks students to explain in their own words how explains how the water cycle works and how the flow of energy affects the water cycle. And they can either type or record their answer. This allows for accessibility for students that either may not be able to type or students who can just explain themselves better through words. They have a couple of different options here. And this will allow teachers to understand where their students are in understanding the content. And something else important that I wanted to mention is that each of these slides that contain text also include a recording to help those students that need that extra support. Yeah.